and welcome. Today we're in the greenhouse, and as you can see, I've already started to move things about. What I need to get done is the ability to have the tomatoes where they should be, which is along this front edge. But at the moment, everything's in the wrong place. So I'm having to shifty things about like those sorts of things that you used to play with as a kid and slide things around. So I got to this point, so everything's off the pots now. You can see a pile of them on the left there. So the next point is I need to get the tomatoes down to the bottom and the plants up to the top. So it's going to be a bit of a switcheroo. I don't know about you, but at this time of year I always seem to have tons of things that are needed to go down the allotment and are just about ready to go down, but the weather's sort of iffy and you're not quite sure. Tomatoes are becoming ready to stay in the greenhouse. As you can see here, they're getting quite large. So a quick pop off to get the compost, get it snipped open, and then I put the pot on the chair just to help me so I don't have to bend down quite so far. And I'm going to start getting some of these tomatoes potted up. I'm planting them quite deep because, again, I'm trying to get some of the stem into the soil so it'll create more roots. I've been doing this as I've gone along. I'm also trying to select here what tomato I want, and they're all a little bit mixed up because we move them about, but luckily this year I remembered to label them all, which is a plus. So this one's a Gardener's Delight. So that's a cherry tomato. And get it tipped out. I didn't pot these up that long ago actually, so they're not going to have massive roots, but I need these pots for the peppers, so it's kind of, again, switching things out. Oh, and you can see here where the stem was turned round last time when I planted it deep, and there are roots coming out from it. Tomatoes are very good like that. It just seems to be where the hairs are on the stem, they can create roots. Just getting rid of some of the leaves that will be below soil because I don't want them to rot back into the plant. I do this every year, so I'm not worried about it failing. I've not had a plant fail yet. So let's get a load more of these done. As you can tell from the lime scale on these pots, I've had them a very long time. And I went to the garden centre the other day to have a look for some more terracotta pots, and I was quite shocked at how expensive they all are. I haven't bought any in absolutely years, and I think it's longer than I thought it was, because these were only about $1.99 a pot. So, crikey, I hadn't any idea that they'd be now sort of about £5 each, maybe even £6 in some places, just for a terracotta pot. You'll see when I turn this one out about the root structure and the stem. It's really quite clear how it sort of comes out of where the hairs are. It's almost like the hairs have enlarged to create a new root system. Can you see them coming out there? Little white pieces. I'll pop that back in again. It was because it was right next to the pot, we can see it. Very clever. I thought you might like to hear some of the bird song that's going on in the garden without me crashing and banging while it's going on. So during this time lapse, I'll put a bit of that on for you. Time to get watering. I like these metal watering cans. I think they're so cute and they don't hold too much water so that I can lift them quite easily. However, they seem to be going rusty. I've lost parts, as you can see from the front there, that have come off, and the inside is so rusty. It's starting to leak a little bit out the bottom. Don't know whether anybody's got any ideas of what I could do to sort it out. I don't really want to chuck them away. They were just some B&Q ones. I think they were about a few years ago, and it seems a shame to get rid of them because they do hold water for as long as I need them to, which is while I'm watering the plants. But it'd be lovely to be able to refresh them or, just make them better again. I'm not sure how. Anyway, let's get the plants watered in. We need a good drink. I'm going to get them watered so that it's coming out the bottom, and then that'll be plenty for today. I usually string the tomatoes up, which involves me just tying a loop around the bottom of the plant, finishing it in a knot, then measuring out how much string that I need to go to. I have got a pole that I tie them to at the top there, So once I've measured the string that it will reach the pole and go over the top a little bit, I'll wind it around the plant to support it and then tie it off around the pole at the top with the excess string. And every time the plant grows, I'll just wind it round the string a little bit more so that it just stops it from going floppy. The advantage of this, of course, is that I can lay them a little bit. What I mean by that is when they get to the top of the string, rather than nipping out the top of the tomatoes, I tend to undo the string, lay them down partially, get a new piece of string and let them grow up that. So there's a stem sort of lying along the ground a bit, and then you get a bit more growth and a few more tomatoes. It also means I have the flexibility of moving the pots around a bit. So, for example, at the moment I've got lots of tomatoes that are in small pots in front of them, and then later on, if I wish, and those pots are gone and I've put them elsewhere, I can slide the large pots forward and it won't make any difference to the string. You'll also have noticed that I've got a few different varieties of tomatoes, and there's a particular sort that I'm ignoring at the moment, and they're the Roma tomatoes. I'm hoping to get those planted out in this long bed in front of the greenhouse so that I can get some more sort of sauce type tomatoes, because they will not all fit in the greenhouse. I have cages for those, which are basically a mesh. It's a lot larger than chicken wire. It's the big grid sort that are in a hoop shape, and I place them over the plant, and then the plant can grow through it as it sees fit, and it supports the plant out there. I'll probably show you that when I get to that point, but at the moment we're still stringing up in the greenhouse. Trying a new sort this year as well, Mini Bell. So I'm assuming it's going to be a cherry tomato, but I'm not really quite sure what the size or flavour is going to be on it, so I'll have to test that later on. But as I've said before, I've got the main sort that I normally grow, which is the Gardener's Delight, and I've also got Elsa Craig as a slicing tomato for in salads or wedging it to go in lunch boxes. So hopefully we'll get a good harvest this year. Now we'll get tidied up and get all the other bits and pieces back into the greenhouse. Although I do have plans for down the side that you can see the fence through the greenhouse on the right of the screen there, and that's where I'm hoping to put my cucumbers. And later along the back on top of the staging, I'm hoping to put my peppers up there when we've actually got room and we took everything down to the allotment. Now I planted my seeds back in January, so it's taken quite a few pottings up from really small pots to get up to this size. But you can see I'm starting to get flowers already, and it's only the very end of April. Also getting some side shoots, so we'll get those out while we're here. Now if you were short of tomatoes, which I'm not, I could take the end off carefully with a pair of scissors and get this into a very tiny pot, and it would root for me and I'd get more tomatoes, well, another tomato plant per cutting. Well, that's it for today. You can see we've got it all sorted. A bit rammed, but there we go. So thank you for watching.